So one thing I noticed is if his mouth is so long here, then he actually needs an inner, like the top part of his mouth. So let me just fix that really quick. I'll use the same color. And I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it on this layer. And I'm going to use, what will I use? Sketchmaster. Okay, so I think this would be like this. And maybe something like this, because it would have to be, yeah, that just looks better because he needs an under part of his mouth where his mouth would close. It can't just be, his mouth is long. I mean, I'm used to making like short-mouthed creatures, so that's what I accidentally did, but his mouth should be a little bit longer. So we'll do that, and I'm just going to erase this, and I'm also going to erase this. And I'm going to erase whatever that is. What is that? Oh, maybe I need to color that in. Got it. I just need to color this in more. Okay. It's not bad. I wonder if I can actually include those lines even with the, let's see how they look. Yeah, I think I can include them. It doesn't really take away from it. Maybe I can sort of fudge this a little bit to sort of give the illusion that it's following the same path. Yeah, I dig that. But maybe it doesn't need to be that dark. So let me alpha lock it and make this line a little lighter. I'm just using a brush at 30% so I can sort of gauge how dark it's going to be. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm not happy about. Maybe I just need to use this same color to make those little ticks. These are like the small little details that you can just get hung up on. Match this up. Okay, I'm okay with that. I'll definitely buy that one. Alright, these lines would be a little darker too. So let me alpha lock this back up, and we're going to choose a darker green. I'm just going to go over his little nostril lines. Okay, so let's add some shadows to the rest of the body. I don't remember what color I used it for the shadows. let's see how this looks. See if I can just copy this color. Okay, that works. So I'm going to select the body. I'm going to go back to my shadow layer. So now the only thing I can color on is the actually, maybe I should separate these lines. I kind of want to separate the lines and then start integrating them into the image. I'll skip that for now. But normally I think I might separate the lines so I can integrate them. So we want a shadow from his little round head. Go up. And maybe his little shadow. That's not bad. I can probably just make this a little cleaner. Sometimes I try to like do a little bit too much, and sometimes it's really just better to just keep these things simple. Do a little bit of a shadow there, a little bit of shadow under here. If the light is coming down from the top, then all this would probably have some shadow to it. Yeah, what the heck. That's one thing that's always tricky is when I have this detail on the hand and I need to do a shadow, but I don't want to take away from the detail there. So that can sometimes be a little bit tricky. So I don't know if I want to do the shadow underneath or do the shadow higher. That can be tricky because it really changes the color of that. So I think underneath is better. So a little bit of a shadow in between. A little bit of a shadow down there. Maybe a little bit of a shadow there. It doesn't really need that much of a shadow, actually. Do a little bit of a shadow down here. Okay, I think that looks all right. Now I'm also going to color in the things that are further back. So to do that, let's see if I want to do, let's see how extreme I want to make it. Because that leg is a little further back, all back here is further back. And this just adds separation to his, kind of front to back separation. If I do it on the head, so I'm going to select the head and go back to the shadow layer. Obviously this ear is in the back. This is in the back. Even though I still have to change the color of that. And I can do maybe some shadows there. that looks a bit weird. Maybe some shadows there, maybe a little something underneath his chin. That's not too bad. We'll do a little bit of shadow for his head going back. And we'll follow that up a little bit up here. And we can do the same thing with this. Make a little bit of more shadow from the actual horn. We'll do a shadow on the inner side of his ear. Okay, that looks okay. And we'll do some shadows for his nostrils. And we really should, we'll see how much this changes the color. I mean, he really would have shadows all on the underside of here, but I might not be able to do that because it might take away a little too much detail that we put in. Yeah, it really takes away, so I'm just going to leave that. Maybe a little bit of a shadow underneath his lip. And I'm just going to clean these shadows up a little bit, even though I might sort of dither them. It sounds weird. Okay, good. I'm happy with that. So when it comes to dithering, it's sort of like easing up on these shadows a little bit. So I'm going to take an airbrush on my shadows, make it smaller, and now I'm just going to sort of erase away so the shadows are a lot softer. So the shadows are there, but they don't have as much bite to them. Like it's almost like, and it's a cool little effect. And it really just softens up everything. I'll do a little bit here too. Gotta be careful, I don't want to dither too much there. Do some here. And we'll do a little bit down here. Because I don't really want to take too much away from the details and the colors. Okay, that looks pretty nice. For example here, this is very harsh, so this will be really helpful in just making it look more like a shadow and not like another hard color line. We'll do some here too. I don't know if dithering is the right word, but that's what I'll use. Feels right. There's a lot of things like I kind of pick up from different places, and like it might be the right term, it might not be, I have no idea. But regardless, if things work, then they work. And I use them. Okay, let me just do a little test here. If I take the brush and I bring it down to 20%, what happened to, I don't know what happened to that. I hate when things disappear on me. Because I don't want to ignore that there should be a shadow there. So that's why I'm sort of trying to figure out a way to add that in, because it's important. Let me make it a little bit smaller. And even though now I'm putting it in and it's very I'll just use smudge because I think I lowered the opacity, so I won't be able to go back over it. So I'm just going to use smudge and sort of manipulate the... Let me color lock this. Color lock the screen this time. Okay, so at least now something is there. So, because I don't... You really should have the shadows where they're supposed to be. I can dither it a little bit just to sort of not bring your eye too much to the line. So the shadow is there, but then your eye is not brought to that hard line. Okay, I'm happy with that. And there's also, you can also use your airbrush, and let's see, I'm going to select his head, and I'll go back to shadow. I'm going to make this a little bit darker. And you can also treat it like it's a giant ball, almost. And what I mean by that is, like, now I'm just sort of adding an overall shadow to, you know, the whole head. So there's lots of ways that you can, like, shade and color things in. I can also do it back here too. So this is sort of like the opposite of what I was doing before. Whereas before I was like adding the dark color in and then erasing away. Now I'm just using the airbrush to sort of shade. So I add like a little bit of shadow here. Maybe a little bit. Make it a little darker. Maybe some more here for his little nostrils. I'll do the same thing to the body. Select. Now let's say I want to make it a little bit, I'll make it this even darker. And just add to this shadow here. So now I'm just going to, just like I would if it was like a circle, I'm just using the far away circular motions just to sort of get that color in there, just to get it darker. Actually, I'm going to use a different color. I feel like that color looks weird for some reason. Oops. Make it a little smaller. Really get that separation from the head and the body, so it looks like the shadow is really on it. Okay, so let's change the color of this. I'm going to go ahead and erase this horn, the color, so that it should be on head. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that. And I'm going to add, I'll do it on the same layer as the eyes. Maybe I'll even take the color of the eyes. That could work. Make it a little bit lighter. And I'll do it on that same layer. So I'll just use Butterblade. I probably should have used a brighter color. I'm going to use a brighter color and then I'm going to change it, because it's kind of a bit hard to see. Whoops. Okay, that's in. And I'll do the same thing for this one. Okay, that's in. And I don't actually need those lines, so I'm going to go up to lines and erase those. Because now those extra lines are just a waste. Erase. Erase a little bit of the shadow underneath. Okay, and now I'm just going to go back and fix up the color a little bit. Or fix up the shape. Because a lot changes when you change the line work. Alright, that's good. So now I'm just going to select these. Make sure this is alpha locked. Go back to the original color and then tap the layer and fill layer. And these are still alpha locked, so I'm just going to add a little bit of shading to this little horn. So I'll make this a little bit darker. Airbrush. And I'm going to add a little bit of flavor to this horn here. Really simple, nothing too fancy, just adding that little touch of like 3D. And since I really want to make this pop, I'm going to make this side really dark. Whoops, it's a little too dark, too quick. Make this side really dark and then go to the original color again. Make this small and then make that original color edge. That will always make an impact. Alright, that looks pretty good. So now I can get rid of some of this shadow. First of all, let me select this, go back to the shadows, go back to that original green for the shadows, and I'm just going to, whoops. Okay, what I'm actually going to do is erase the whole shadow and make a new one. And now that I have the new one, I'm going to take eraser, airbrush, and just kind of erase away the top where the light would be hitting. Maybe I'll make it real thin and just like a small strip. That's a little bit better. Okay. So now I'm going to change the color of this line. Or maybe I'll just erase this line. I don't need this line back here because I have the ear. So all I need to do is fix this line up. That's head, alpha lock. I'll use butter blade. Whoops. You know what? It's going to be easier to just color the line. So So I'm just going to match this and then just color the line. The only reason I don't like doing this is because it leaves these little gaps that annoy the heck out of me, but you can't really see them. Smudge a little bit, but that's all right. That's not the biggest deal. Let me color in some of these other lines. I'm going to use the airbrush to color them in. That way I can sort of have a little more control over them. Because some places I don't want them completely gone because I need the detail. Like I want the detail of the line there. But for example here, like this is a good area for me to kind of have it sort of fade into the line. Here as well. Well, let me do it a little bit less. Here as well. Because they don't have to go away completely, but some of them don't have to be so prominent. All right. For example, there's no reason I have to have the line on this side of the cheek because you can clearly see that it's the cheek. So there's no detail that I'm needing over there. Same thing here. I don't really need any details over here. Try to match this. Sort of fade this off a little bit. It's a little harsh. Fade this a little bit too. Alright, fade this guy. So this is the closest thing to like sort of getting rid of the lines, but keeping what you need for the details. Okay. These I kind of want to just make go away. So I'm going to sort of fade them out by matching the color. I don't know, the line looks nice though. Yeah, I'll just leave it for now. I don't really need to get rid of it. Maybe I'll just change this color. Change the color of some of these lines. Okay, those are looking pretty good. Lighten this up a little bit. Lighten these lines up a little bit. Just enough so that I can still see the detail, but they're not so prominent. Make this smaller. I don't know what to do with this line. Should I just let's see. I'll match this with this color. And I'll kind of have to move up the line and sort of change it as the color changes. That might be the best way to kind of tackle this. Because it gets tricky when the colors, you want the lines to sort of match the colors to a certain extent. So it can be a little tricky. That looks all right. And these I'll literally just match these colors. Okay. Alright, that's looking good. Let me try to match these colors. And then I'll just add some colors on the back, and we're pretty much good with him. I'm pretty happy with him so far. Match this a little bit. Make this a tad darker. This detail doesn't need to be as prominent as it is right now, so I'm just darkening it up a little bit, or lightening it up a little bit. I feel like his nails should be a little bit brighter though, right? I feel like his nails need to be not the same color of his skin, so... Oh, should they be a little more yellowish? Maybe they should be a little more yellowish. A little more yellowish. And then I'll make the lines yellowish as well. Or just erase them. Okay, so let me make this a little bit darker, and then I'll go to lines, and just let's see how this looks. Might look terrible. Does it look better without that? Or like this? Maybe I should just use the airbrush and I'll use Shadow 30 and just lighten it up a little bit. I think that works. So I'm basically just lightening it up. So instead of using Shadow 30, I'll put it up to 60, and then maybe I don't have to go over it twice. Shadow 30 is just graffiti brush, but at 30% opacity. So just a fat brush. Bring it back down and sort of make these lines a little lighter as well. Okay, good. I'm happy. Shadow, go a little bit darker. I feel like his cheek could use a little bit more shadow here. Now this is me just doing extra. But I feel like his cheek should be a little more shadowed here. Underneath his little cheek. Okay, good. Okay, that looks good. This looks good. I can go back to lines and airbrush. Ease off of some of this dark color here in the ears. Can ease off some of this color as well. Can ease off some of this. Ease off some of this back here. Man, we're on 36 already. I don't have that much time. I gotta get going on this little fella. Now, do I want to keep his eyes like that, or do I want to do? Let's see. What am I thinking of? Hue, saturation, layer, black. Do I want to do all this? Saturation, layer, black. Do I want to add those to his eyes? I don't know. I don't know if I do. Let me add his eyes together. Those together. Those actually look pretty good. The space is pretty good. What I can do is I can add a bit of darkness on one side. So I can add darkness on one side. I can do select, change this to an add layer, and then choose a green. It's important to choose a green here. And then give him like a nice emerald. Oh, I love it. I love it. Come on. And give him a nice emerald there. And that's not bad. You know, just for like a quick and dirty. So let me put on these, let me do the little, I want to select this. I'm going to go up to that top layer. I'm going to go black. I'm going to go shadow 30, but I'm going to make sure that it's on 30. It's on 29, but that's close enough. So now I'm going to do these little, I noticed something I did that I messed that I didn't want to do. I need to take the head, select, go down to the eye layer, drop this down, and cut. That way I have clean eye shapes. So now I can do select there. I can go back up to that layer, back to my brush, shadow 30, black. Now I can actually do my shadows, my eyelid shadows that I love doing. Eyelid shadow number 2. Good. So we've got eyelid shadows now. And let's put some... Oh, I think I wanted to do... There's another thing that I wanted to do that I thought might look cool. We're going to go back to head. And we're going to use Butterblade. We'll use a graffiti brush at 100%. So I wanted to do these little things. that a lot of animals have, and I always love them. Okay, I love it. I like it. Let me fix it up though, because I can't help it, as my videos are always so long. Okay. Curve. Alright, I can also make this a little darker and go to the shadow layer. Yeah, the shadow layer. I'll make it a little bit darker. And I'll use Sketchmaster. And let's see if I just want to put almost like a... It almost acts as an eyebrow, but not really an eyebrow. I don't think I'm going to get this right. That actually wasn't bad. Should have left it. Got to get those lines straight and right. Yeah, I actually don't mind that. I think it helps. Kind of helps break it up a little bit. I like it. Sold. All right. So now let's get to some coloring. So let me just choose this. I'll choose that color. I might choose a different color if I don't like it. And should I do it directly on? I'm going to do it on a layer above. So I'm going to select the head and then do it on a layer above. Otherwise, I'll mess it up. So we sort of want to, we want to use a different brush first of all. Butter blade. So this is sort of, we'll worry about the lines later, I guess. Such annoying lines. So this is the coloring on his little head. Actually, let me leave it. Lines. Let's just color them right in. Alpha locked, good. Locked and loaded. Let's just color these puppies right in. Go back here and just erase this little bit. Oops. Might have to go over that later. That's annoying. Color this little bit in. Is this erase? Am I erasing? I want to be coloring. What are you doing? What are you doing, bro? Okay, so we have that there. He has his little spots that we'll use graffiti brush to do. Back to that layer, so he has his little spots on his arms. You know, we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's a little bit better. the shapes have to be like, they have to be right. They have to be like the right, they just have to work. I do want to put some color on his back, as though he has like, oh, let me select the body. Maybe I just want to, I don't mind that, but it gets a little busy. I'm okay with the three little dots. So let me make some on this arm too. Use a little bit more of a random array. You don't want it to look even at all. So that's the only thing that I'm really worried about. Not worried about, but you know. Oh, I kind of like the cute little dotties on his little undercarriage there. And also, another thing that I think might be cute is if I just make some lines, darken them up. Actually, no, let me use the same color. If I just make some lines underneath, so I'll just use the eraser and I'll just use inking. Let's see how thick they are. Oh, they're very, very, very thick. I wanted to use paintbrush. Inking. It's still a little thick. So we just want to just give them some lines. Alright, and now maybe I want to add a little bit of pink to his ear, so I'm just going to go to pink, and I'm going to use we'll use shadow 30. We'll bring it down a little bit and just see how it looks. If I just add a little pink in there, maybe it looks weird. If it's a little darker. What if it's here, but then that's not colored in? That's nice, but it would be nicer if it was okay, so this is a little annoying, but I'm going to do it the long way. I'm going to use the airbrush on a layer above. I'm going to airbrush in this nice fluffy pink for his ear. And then I'm going to go back and erase where I don't want it. The beauty of layers. I'll erase with the Sketch Master, and I can sort of make some other little like hair marks in his ear. That looks a lot better. Okay. I think I want to add a little bit more shadow there. So I'm going to select his body. Go to shadows, use a fairly dark. And I'm just going to color in with this. Just color that in a little bit, and I'm actually just going to color in a little bit of everything down here. I'm going to actually make it bigger, and I'm just going to color in everything. Does that look weird? Should I not have done it? Maybe I'll take off a little bit. I'll just take off a little bit. So I like it, but it's a little harsh. So I'll just pull back a little bit. And just add a little light. And if we're really feeling crazy, another thing we can do is add a layer on top, and I'm going to go to shadow 30, but I'm going to bring it down to 15%. I'd like to use maybe like Sketchman. No, I'll use shadow 30. Can add some you can sort of play the little dithering game and make it a little bit brighter. Let me erase. And this is just to add a little bit of, just a little bit of light pops. Maybe on top of the, maybe on top of here. Just dither them away. Maybe a little bit here. Make this a little bit brighter. Add some here. Dither it away. And definitely here. So I'll make this a little bit lighter even, since this is one of like the main thing that's closest to us. Okay, and now I'm going to add a new layer so we can do the eyes. I'm going to go with white, shadow 30. I'm going to bring it to exactly 30%. And I'm going to use Butterblade. And oopsie daisies. I'm going to use Butterblade, but I'm going to lower the layer to 30%. Make some nice jelly beans here. Erase this little bit. I make sure my eraser is not on airbrush anymore. Erase that part where his eye is. And I'll make a new layer, and I'll just use regular, or I'll use, I haven't used this in a while. Where's my eye glare texture? Use eye glare texture. Do I want to use that though? I don't know. It's tough. Could always just go with a nice maybe even make another one down here. Okay, I definitely forgot about the mouth. 100% forgot about the mouth. So let me make his little tongue. Make sure it's still recording. So we're on like an hour or so. Okay. It's not bad. Do we like that though? Let's try another one. Maybe I need to make a little bit more of a... So if his mouth was going in, it would actually come a little bit more. Might see more of it. That's a little bit too much, but it actually doesn't look too terrible. But it might be nice to just have the little lumpies. So it might be, oops, let me just use this color instead. Might be better to have this and then have the little tongue lumpies in the back. So what if I do like this? I think that's a little bit better. Keep it nice and round though. So now I'm just going to stay on this color, and I'm just going to sort of airbrush in the bottom of that, just to kind of give it a little bit of a 3D sort of feel. I'm going to do shadow 30. I'm going to make it really low opacity and just do a line here. So it sort of looks like, nah, I'm just going to leave it. That looks fine. It looks fine. I'm just going to use Sketchmaster 2 and Just draw a line to kind of give it a little bit of shape there. Okay, so that looks good. And now for his teeth, we'll make his teeth pure white. Maybe I'll make them a little bit yellow. Just a little bit. I don't want to use pure white. Butter blade. I'm just going to select this and use a layer on top in case I want to just quickly do a different version. So we can do one tooth there. If he has some teeth here. If he has a bunch of little teethies there. And then he would have another one here that would continue above. So you know what? I'm just going to do this one above. Let me merge these. Merge all of those. Make a new layer. And this would be this tooth. Something is I feel like this tooth would be here. This tooth would be sort of coming off as well, and then this one might be the opposite of that tooth. Is that weird? That looks a bit strange. I'm going to make the rest of his teeth on the top, so let me merge all these again. If I want to do the rest of the teeth up here, I don't know. So you have this tooth. This tooth. This tooth. Maybe here? Oh, that's a little bit better. Make it a bit more of a dome here. So Tiffy's going back in his mouth. Actually, man, I kind of like it. I mean, it's a little extra, but I wasn't originally going to do like all these teeth. And then for the ones on the top, I can do one here. And then the other one has to be above this. Oh, I guess it has to be on the. It can't be below that. Yeah, it can't be below that. So it has to be above. But this one might be able to be below. I kind of like that. I think it's cute. So I'm going to alpha lock these teeth. I'm going to go a little bit darker with them. And I'm just going to color them a little bit darker. can actually go darker. Since they're supposed to be like, you know, deep in his mouth. And that one up there can be darker too, so alpha lock this. This one can definitely be darker. But I still want you to be able to see it. And I definitely want to erase whatever this is. There we go. Alright, so let me go back to these and just do a little bit of a... where's that other tooth at? Here we go. I'm going to actually go darker. I'm going to use my soft airbrush and just airbrush the bottom. Okay. And now what I'd like to do is I'd like to add a shadow, so I'm going to add a dark shadow over. Let's see if shadow 30 works. Still recording. Short here. Go here, over the mouth. It's not, that wasn't dark enough. I feel like maybe it needs to be black. Oh, that didn't look right. Oh, let me turn this up a little bit. Maybe it just needs to be darker. There we go, because I really want the inside of the mouth to look like it's inside of the mouth. Okay, so because that's darker, I probably need to add it to this tooth as well. So let's see if this... Okay, that one looks good. It doesn't really need shadows on these, so I think those are good. Okay. Oh, there's another thing that I forgot. Little eyelid type things. So let me unalpha lock this, and I'll go for a darker. I can actually use this same green here. I'm like full go mode right now, as I'm sure it sounds like. Okay, that's pretty good. So another thing I do is always do these little eyelids. Do those, and then you can really pull them up here. You can have two other ones to really pull up the eyes. Maybe I'll make them a little bit lighter. Maybe it's just good with the eyebrows, or with the eyelids. Maybe that's enough. Just add a little touch there. I like that. Okay. I think I'm pretty happy with this little fella. The only thing that I can add is Maybe just a little more darkness to some parts of him. Like this. And this is bugging me, so I'm going to do this right over this. I'm just going to use butter blade, and I'm just going to clean this up because it's really killing me. Just make that nice and straight. And you just clean this ugly jagged line up. There we go. Much, much, much better. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So now I'm on the line layer, and I'm just cleaning up these disgusting weird colors that happened. Okay, and maybe just a little bit of, maybe, I don't know if he needs it. I like it. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. I'm not worried about what you say. I think I'm going to call it. I mean, I really like it so far. I think he's cute. I'm pretty happy with him. And, yeah. I think I'm pretty happy to call this little fella done. I don't know if I want those. That's cute. We'll keep that. Let me add a little bit of light to this part of his eyelid. Just add a little light there. And then we'll just add a little something underneath him, just to sort of ground him a little bit. So I'll just use the color of the background. Make this bigger. Make it darker. And so sort of, oh, that actually looks terrible. Oh my god. Keep it simple. Like I always say, just keep it simple. So something like that, and I'll just use a Gaussian blur, I think. Just sort of just make it a little bit straighter. And now I'll make it a little darker, and I'll just add a little bit of, just make it darker right where his right where he touches the ground, because that would obviously be the darkest area. So this is underneath him, so I'll make that dark, and then right where he touches the ground. And I'll just erase some of this excess. It doesn't look right. And add a little more down here. And a little darker actually, again right underneath him. just Gaussian blur everything again. And then I'll just lighten it up a little bit. Alright, I think I'm going to call it. I love him. I think he looks really cute. And I'm happy with him. Alright, this is super long. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Keep drawing, and I will see you in the next video.